It's whimsically volatile.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Live from Lockdown 2020. On this episode, I'm joined via FaceTime by my friend Gaby Dunn, who of course you know from Just Between Us, her podcast with Allison Raskin, and Bad With Money, her solo podcast, which she did a live version of at DragCon last year. We had been planning to tape a regular episode for some time, but things took a bit of a turn. So anyway, she joined me on this one. We're going to chat again soon. And also, Gaby will be joining me for a movie club on Foxes. And of course, where do you find Movie Club? Well, you find Movie Club at patreon.com/Craig and Friends. That's right. That's where Hot Dog Club lives. And Hot Dog Club is who brings you this show. That's right. This show is entirely sponsored by patreon.com/Craig and Friends, a.k.a. Hot Dog Club. For those of you listening to Live from Lockdown 2020 for the first time, the show is about how we're all doing, how we're all coping, and how we're all getting through this insane time. And to that end, I want to hear from you. We all want to hear from you. So add your comments on wherever you see this posted, Instagram, Twitter, or email me at whimsicallyvolatile@gmail.com with the subject header Lockdown Feelings, and share how you're feeling, how you're doing. And it doesn't matter what your attitude is. All of us are feeling every kind of way right now. So whatever it is you're feeling, however it is you're feeling, or however little you're feeling, let me know, and we'll talk about it in the upcoming episodes. And this episode, we don't get to any comments from the videos or the emails. However, tomorrow's episode, I'll be diving right back into those. So sit back, relax as much as possible in these strange times, and enjoy.
Hey.
Hey, Gaby, how you doing?
Oh, a mix. How are you?
Yeah, a mix. This morning was a little bit bouncier, I suppose. I don't know why. You know, you wake up and for like 30 seconds you're not thinking about it, and then and then and then you open the phone. Yesterday was much more of a mixed bag.
No, yesterday was bad for me also.
Yeah, do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
I just was crying.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, I mean, like this series started because one day last week, I put on, I know that something's going on emotionally when I don't put on music for a long stretch.
Oh.
You know, like something is going on, and it's hard to define exactly what it is, but I think it might be like I'm maybe scared of unleashing some emotions. So I've been listening to the Gilbert Gottfried podcast, like the entire archive when not working on editing shows. Yeah, like because it's all just about like fun, old Hollywood, you know, like rancid jokes, etc. And also, of course, Howard was off the air on vacation last week. And by the way, Howard's back on this week, and it's so insane. They're broadcasting via Zoom.
Yeah, everybody is. They're doing all the late night shows via Zoom, everything.
I know, it's so wild. I mean, I'm so happy Howard's back on, but I mean, just the sheer bizarreness of he's having equipment installed in his house, but of course he's waiting 72 hours after it's installed for everything to die on the surfaces and all that.
That's what we're doing too.
Tell us about that. So Just Between Us is currently halted in production, but will be going back.
Well, we recorded, when we knew this was happening, we recorded like 2 months of episodes, basically.
Okay, good.
Ahead of time. We always bank them. So we've had so it's kind of funny. I think we'll only get to talking about COVID in the next 3 weeks because it doesn't really come up.
Yeah. But I think that's good though, because, so I'm doing this thing, which is obviously like a topical daily show, but I have this archive of shows that I have banked. I've always been like that, but I always have like lots of shows in the hopper. Mm-hmm. But I think it's good for us to be able to listen to things that aren't talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's kind of ominous because you're like, they don't know what's coming. Like you're listening to it and you're like, oh my God, you don't even know. You don't even know what's coming. I mean, like a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 20 days ago, Allison and I were in New York for a branded deal that we were doing.
Oh, right.
And we were in Times Square and we were joking like, haha, like this is so, we were wearing masks and gloves.
Yeah.
We were like, this is so weird anyway. And like, I flew home 2 days later. Like nobody was like thinking about it.
No, I know. I mean, I ended up staying in London a lot longer than I meant to because I fell ill while I was there. I had stomach ulcer, which I'm still treating with Nexium, etc., and then concurrent gastritis. But also, I had the flu. and I had the flu on top of the ulcer, and I was on double dosage of the antibiotic to treat the ulcer, so therefore the flu wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. So I ended up pushing my flight a number of times because I was afraid of flying in a compromised position. And I mean, I'm just so thankful that that I was.
Yeah, I mean, you're back in LA?
Oh, yeah. I've been back for about 22 days or something like that, but I ended up being in London for over a month.
Yeah, probably it would have been better to stay.
Well, no, I don't think so, especially not right now, because the UK is being hit really badly. I think also because the reaction time, not that the US reaction time has been wonderful, but the reaction time in the UK has been pretty bad.
Oh, really? I just thought because they have the NHS.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I guess they're being overwhelmed. I mean, every hospital right now is being overwhelmed.
Yeah. I'm reading right now, like this morning I was reading about Trump being like, no, well, everyone just go back to work.
I know. I just read that too. I was like, oh dear. Oh, fuck.
It's funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's funny in a sad way that people were like, when he won, everyone was like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, he'll be gone in 4 years and like nothing bad is going to happen. And then it's like, well, he's literally contributing to people dying. So.
Oh, yeah. No, he's just a monster. He's a monster.
Tweeting out like that thing about taking that medication, and then you see people are doing it and dying. Like literally, like he should be tried for manslaughter.
Oh, absolutely. He should just be grabbed right now and put in jail.
Yep.
Sorted out later.
Look, I'm not into the carceral state, but I think we should put him in jail.
Yeah, right. Listen, the exception that proves the rule in terms of the validity of certain philosophies, and he'd be that one thing. Yeah, we take care of that. Then we go back to things as
just a regular jail, like just a jail, but it's only him.
We want to promote quarantining, right? So that'd be perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he complained about the invasiveness of the tests.
Yeah, which proves he didn't take it.
Do you know what the test is comprised of? I haven't read about what the test is. Of course, it's scary that there's so few tests available.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like a swab that goes up your nose. I watched some video of it. I mean, I'm on Twitter all the time anyway.
Yeah. You're right, your self-care regimen, right?
Yeah, it was bad already.
Yeah.
And so I also am like a doom and gloom kind of person. So
right.
I'll predict things. Like I'll be like, they're going to shut down flights.
Yeah.
And like the person I'm dating will be like, no, they won't. Like they're like a upbeat, like, no. And then like today I like sent them an article that was like, they're going to, because I've read and written enough apocalypse fiction
right.
that I'm like, this is absolutely the next thing that's going to happen. And
yeah.
and I think people that haven't are like, no, that would be crazy. And I'm like, have you ever seen a movie?
Right. Have you ever seen The Thing? We share a fondness for that film, and you made a great analogy about The Thing in your book, Bad with Money. And and we were joking about how we were originally going to be taping a podcast, like 2-3 weeks ago when I was back from London.
Yeah.
We decided that maybe we could tape a more relaxed episode later on when we're not sitting there wondering which one of us is the thing. And
I know.
Which is really true. I mean, at the pharmacy, I was just bugged out by everyone. I had to go to the pharmacy to pick up my prescription, and aggravatingly, I had to go to the doctor's office to have that. Well, it's been 6 months. We need to see you again to make sure that you're okay.
Yep.
Even though, I've been on the medication for 22 years. Also, I had to go to the pharmacy twice because I neglected to bring my passport with me as I misplaced my license in Australia last year. And I mean, as you can tell, I don't drive that much. Anyway, so yeah, I was just there with, bleach wipes in hand and not touching anything without it. And also just looking at everyone like, ugh, I don't want to go down the hallway to bring the trash out. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, I think the asymptomatic part of it is the weirdest because you're never going to really know who.
Right.
And also, like, I was trying to do math and not to be, again, like, so alarmist, but I was like, okay, so people, if someone gets it today,
yeah,
they're still contagious for 2 more weeks. So that's 2 more weeks. And then if the last person gets it, let's say the last person on Earth gets it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's still 2 more weeks. Like, Like it's exponentially 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks until what, 2021?
Yeah, no, I know. And, we're both big fans of sex. That ain't happening for quite a long time.
No, I read a really funny. Did you get an email from the LGBT center that was like, safe sex during COVID or whatever? And again, like I'm like a nervous person who knows all this stuff. So I was like joking with my partner being like, no one's going to eat ass ever again. And they were like, no, that's stupid. And then what do you know? We get an email from the LA LGBT Center that's like safe sex tips for COVID. And it's like, maybe don't eat ass. And I was like, I'm not crazy.
No,
like,
that's the thing. Yeah.
I'm getting my information from like I have read again, like enough disease fiction or whatever to know like what's about to happen.
And also, most disease fiction, I mean, there's research involved. They don't, a lot of it, there's things that are made up. But but it's based on things that are, found in fact. And it's also difficult to be a nervous person when you have a mental health issue that you deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, I have bipolar disorder. So, yeah, that's also a little bit like stir crazy. And my therapist is doing remote sessions. I have truthfully been pretty lax about it, I guess, because it feels weird to talk about any personal problems because who cares? And then it also feels...
Well, let me just stop you there for a second. I get what you mean with that, but I think at the same time, we all have to value our problems and feelings at the same time. Like it's that weird dual thing. Do you know what I mean? Because like every problem is relative to the person and everyone is in a different situation while being in the same situation. Yeah.
I just am like, I know it's self-deprecating to be like, nobody cares.
Well, right. That's one of those self-defeating inner talks that we all have. A lot of us have, you know what I mean? Where it does that even while cutting the show and I'm listening to myself go on and, that horrible heckler in the back of my mind is like, oh, you're just going on and who's going to care? Like, and why that, but like, it's just one of those things we wrestle with on a daily basis, I think.
I think now people want, I definitely want to hear people talk. Like I put podcasts on, like I want conversations. I want to hear people discussing stuff, even stuff like mostly stuff that doesn't really have to do with what's going on right now, like history podcasts or podcasts that are like two people talking, but it's like recounting the story of like I listened to this show called You're Wrong About. Do you know that show?
No, I haven't heard it yet.
It's good. It's like these two people, they're very smart. And they're talking about like things from history, and they're saying like this is what we got wrong about it. Like they're like so. For instance, they'll be like, "What do you remember about the O.J. Simpson trial?" And then they'll say like, "Oh, it was this and this and this," and then they'll be like, "No, it wasn't." Or like, right. They'll be like, "What do you remember about like the Monica Lewinsky scandal?" And they'll be like, "Well, this and this," and they'll be like, "Nope." So it's like, what's that?
Did you hear that?
What is it?
I don't know. Outside, I just heard, stupid. I think I might have to put a voice recorder out in the balcony.
What do you think happened? Someone stubbed their toe?
You know what? There's landscaping going on outside.
They cut their hand off?
They must have. I think they must have cut their hand off once again, and now they're down to no hands. Right.
Yeah. So, good luck going to the hospital.
Yeah. And not only that, in this economy too, to be sort of like limited in your abilities as a landscaper. No wonder you're so upset.
Glue it back on.
That's right. Yeah. Did you ever see a vampire in Brooklyn? There's ways around losing your hand.
No, I have seen idle hands though.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Is that another example of people losing their hands and gluing them back on?
Not gluing it back on, but it's a movie with Devon Sawa. From 90s, and Jessica Alba's in it, and Seth Green, and it's like this guy, he's a stoner, and he doesn't ever do anything with his life, and then his hand becomes like possessed by the devil, and then he cuts his hand off, but then the hand goes rogue and starts killing everybody. And
what? Do you know that there's another movie like that called The Hand from 1980, starring Michael Caine and written by Oliver Stone, and it's supposed to be like one of the worst movies of all time.
Yeah, this one's pretty bad too. At one point, they
Really?
microwave the
Wait.
hand.
You said Seth Green's in it, and it's bad. Hold on.
He plays a zombie. Yeah, I used to really like it because it's so campy. But
Oh, yeah.
one of the things from it that I remember is Devin Saw was a stoner, and he wears a inhaler around his neck, and people think he has asthma, but he just puts weed in it.
So listen, you can always get some helpful tips and tricks from even the worst of films. And that reminds me, I'll send you a link to Skate Town USA because we're going to be doing it for Movie Club.
Okay.
I know you're quite a Swayze fan. Is there a name for that? Like the Manilow fans can be called Fanilows. Is there anything for Swayze fans?
I don't know, actually. I've never looked into other people who are interested in Patrick Swayze. I know because I follow his official Instagram, so I will see commenters being like, love you or whatever, and they're clearly probably like boomers or Gen X people who are just talking as if he reads his Instagram.
Yeah, sure, right?
But I don't know that there's a name.
Well, maybe we can come up with one. And maybe you could spearhead the movement. You could bring your people together.
Yeah, I don't know what we're called. I'll look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, that's something for us to chew on. Listen, listeners, let us know what you think, because on yesterday's episode, I talked about how on Letterman, Billy Idol said that the drug dealers in New York were referring to their wares by his song title. So Cocaine was White Wedding, Quaaludes were Rebel Yell. No idea if he was just making it up. So I put the challenge up. Please let me know what other Billy Idol songs would be good corollaries to various drugs. And these can be prescribed pharmaceuticals, street drugs, whatever. So hopefully we get some responses on that. Would you want to match a Billy Idol song to a drug? Do you have any thoughts?
What were the ones that he said already?
So he said White Wedding was cocaine, Rebel Yell was Quaaludes, and Dancing with Myself he said was smoke. I don't know about that, though. I mean, I don't know how Dancing with Myself becomes marijuana, but also he's sniffling throughout the entire thing. It's really, it's great. I'm really in a Billy Idol hole at the moment, and I love watching the interviews. And he's quite smart as well. He's very interesting to listen to. But what were you going to say?
Well, I'm looking at his tracks, and is Eyes Without a Face like ketamine?
Ooh, that's very good. That's very good. I mean, from what I've heard,
my friend is doing it as a therapy.
I think that's wonderful that's being used for that. And I think it's very smart. And how's it working out for them?
They said it's helping their depression. Yeah, it's mostly they go in and they get ketamine drips and they trip out for hours, and then supposedly it helps with depression. Right,
it has a tailwind effect that the one trip somehow it unlocks some other stuff that you see the benefit of in the next month or 2 months.
Yeah, I think it opens something in your brain.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I wouldn't know personally.
I worry. I'm well, how do you not get addicted? But I guess it's in a doctor's office and it's controlled and...
Yeah, and I think ketamine is one of those, people can get addicted to anything, but
sure.
I don't know if it's one of those things where it's once you have a hit that you have to have another one kind of thing.
Got it.
Yeah, but I'm really happy that they're experimenting with this stuff, and I guess not experimenting it, implementing it. And there was some other article I read about using mushrooms or psilocybin for similar things.
Oh yeah, people microdosing. People have nothing but time right now. Just start microdosing.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, if you have a good stash, that's the other thing. I guess it'd be kind of hard to do any kind of transactions in this current era.
That's true.
Handing off money, ducking into strange cars. Also, if anyone's doing that, can you really trust the person that's selling it to you, because they're taking their life in their hands as well? So think about that.
Yeah, you're just leaving your drugs on the table for 72 hours.
No, right. Maybe microwaving them for 20 seconds or whatever myth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as long as you bleach your drugs, no problem.
I've never had hot weed, weed that you put in the microwave. Sounds insane.
It does, and I don't think that actually works. I think that was something I heard on Stern, where he was superstitiously microwaving all food that he got from delivery places for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And but then Dr. Agus, who was on the show today, said that food is not how it's being transmitted, which is good, because I've been bleach wiping every piece of everything that comes into my place. How about you? What's your regimen? And I know that your podcast partner is quite an experienced disinfector.
She's severe OCD, but she's actually handling handling it pretty calmly.
Good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I was like, you've been preparing for this your whole life.
Right.
And she's in school now. She's going to school now to be a therapist. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah. So she's doing like online, her classes moved online or whatever. And
Yeah.
I think she's like handling it pretty well because she's used to obsessive thoughts. Whereas like someone who's like an extrovert who's like goes out and handles their brain crying with like distraction or like other stuff is having much more of a problem. I don't really have cleanliness OCD, the way that she does OCD. So I'm just like, okay, now I just like don't know what to do with my time. So I'm like cleaning my whole house, washing my dishes every like afternoon. Like it's just like, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting because I wonder if we shouldn't have been living this way the whole time. Like, why aren't we all wiping doorknobs? Why aren't we like constantly washing our hands? Like, I'm like, oh, maybe like this would have been good to be doing the whole time.
Well, I think to a degree, like I think if we were able to at some point dial the level of hyper cleanliness back to somewhere between where it was before, where people would just walk out of a bathroom without washing their hands, and and where we are now, that would be great because I think also there's something to be said, right, for the exposure to benign germs, that sort of help to build up the resistance and all of that stuff. Because I think there was some study or there's something about kids who are overly boy in the bubbled, essentially, that then they can get really sick when they go out into the real world. I guess it's kind of true almost with cultural restrictions, like when kids are really sheltered and then suddenly they're like in their teens and there's this like shock that peers know all of this stuff and they don't. And I think that that's as destructive as oversaturation the other way too.
Yeah, I guess it'll be hard to go back. I'm worried. Like it'll be hard for people to not. I wonder, like when you make fun of your grandparents because they're like so stingy and they're like, well, I lived through the Depression, that like stereotype.
Right.
So then it's going to be like, we'll be old and like young people will be like, why do you disinfect all the doorknobs? And we'll be like, you don't know what we lived through.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, that I'll be talking to other people's children, but otherwise, that's very true. No, it's really strange to think about, or it's really fascinating, I guess, to think about what the permanent changes are going to be from this era. You know what I mean? And I've been trying to not get into too many doom and gloom what ifs. However, like you, I definitely have these thoughts. Sometimes when I'm washing my hands, a lot of us do the best thinking in the bathroom. But when I'm like, oh, this is going to happen, or you read a piece of news and you go, oh, you know what's going to happen, and then fill in the blank. But it's like this quiet, weird thing where you're like, oh, this is going to happen. Like I remember when I flew back from London, I was on the phone with Jason, and I was originally going to stay 2 more days, and he was like, you better get home. And then I started to think about it. I was like, you're right, because what if they close the borders or what? And I was healthy, and I was healthy enough at that point, right? And so I did, and I ended up moving my flight up and got the fuck out of Dodge. Had a whole row to myself, which was very helpful. And it was so spooky at the airport. I can't remember. You said you flew in the last however long, but what was the airport like when you were there? Was everyone freaking out yet or no? You said that they weren't.
No, I flew on the 6th. I flew from New York to LA.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is like, so I was in New York for work and I had a work thing on the 3rd and the 4th at a hotel. A brand deal for a makeup brand.
Oh, yeah. Well, congratulations. I'm excited about that.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm an influencer.
Well, that's right.
I don't know what the odds are that they're gonna, that they'll listen to this. They probably won't, but like it was tied to the Olympics, which now might be postponed. So everything's going really well. But
that's right. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, I'll probably still get paid, but.
Hey, listen, that's the best part.
That's all that matters. But so we did this brand thing and it was me and Allison and it was very cool. And then I got home, or I was staying in a hotel in Times Square.
Oh God,
with the person I'm dating, and then I like, it was like midnight, and I was on the East Coast. My parents are in Florida.
yeah.
And it was like midnight, and my dad called, and I was like, that's weird. But
Right.
sometimes he can be like very inappropriate. So I was like, oh my God, am I going to pick up and he's going to be like, you know what's a weird TV show? And I'm going to be like, you scared the shit out of me. Because that's like, he just like kind of doesn't think.
Sure.
So I picked up, and he was like, your mom's in the hospital. She's okay. Like, I was like, well, what? Like she had a heart attack, which is
Oh my
so
God.
strange.
I'm so sorry, Gabby.
It's okay. So that was the night of the 4th. So at that point, the hospitals weren't full. There was no like COVID stuff. It was not like they were able to go in and out. Like, it was not, it was not like it was not full. So like literally like, if she had had a heart attack like a week later, who the fuck knows?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It was so, like, they were able to like call 911. 911 came to the house, brought her to the ER. Like, she was treated. She stayed for like 3 days, and then they sent her home. Like, it was like totally normal. I mean, normal for a heart attack, but it was totally normal, like business as usual at the hospital. They took care of her. It was totally fine. They're in Florida, which is like, a ton of old people.
Oh yeah. My mom's in Florida. My dad's in Massachusetts, and they now have to be by themselves because one was, headed over to Massachusetts. And anyway, and that's a whole new process. I'm going to be talking to my mom on the show about that, and my dad too, because to be by yourself when you're not used to that as well, on top of everything. But anyway, like you were saying.
I mean, literally, if this was happening now, like, my dad wouldn't have been able to be with her. And then there's this whole thing of like, I debated, like, I'm going to fly from New York. I'm just going to go to Florida.
Yeah, right.
So, like, I was going to go to Florida, and my mom was like, no, and it wasn't even related to coronavirus. My mom was like, no, you don't have to come here. Like, it's fine. Why don't you come visit in 2 weeks? And so like literally around now, I had tickets that I had to cancel, but she was like, yeah, like, so on the 6th, she was like, why don't you come here in 2 weeks, and like, you'll have more time and you won't have to go back in a couple days. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I did that. And like, as of now, it's like, oh, I wouldn't even be able to, because maybe I would bring the virus to my parents who are in their 70s, and like, maybe I would make it worse.
Right.
So now it's this very weird timing of like, thank God this didn't happen now.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't have even been able to go there. And like, now she's recovering, and I still like I won't be able to go there. And so yesterday's Cry Fest was like, when am I going to be able to go there? Maybe not for a very long time.
I know. I was having some thoughts where I really did try to like distract myself from these, because, my dad's 82, and I was planning to go see them in, I don't know, a month or something. Now it all like, I can't even remember the dates now, because it all seems like unreal. Do you know what I mean?
It was 20 days ago. It was 20 days ago that I was like, I'll just go to Florida and see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I had plans to, oddly, I had a return flight to the UK booked for March 28th, because I booked it back in November. But obviously, that's like all changed and everything. But I still had the ticket there, but I was there for so long. I was like, well, I'm probably not going to come back. But then I had plans to go see my like, it's a whole, I sort of feel like I'm losing my train of thought, because you just start thinking about the year as you had it planned.
Right. Yeah. And like, even if I had flown to see her, and I was asymptomatic, like, it's all very strange.
Yeah, and it's the never-ending story in terms of like, well, what if this and what if that?
And when will I get to go there?
Right, that's the thing. And I was thinking about that, and might getting a little misty-eyed as well, because I was thinking about, when am I going to see my dad? You know what I mean? And my mom, and it's freaky. It's really freaky, because we don't know when things are going to be even approaching normal again, and it's Like even small things that are obviously not as important. And again, like you said before, we had these feelings of like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say this because it's so silly and stuff. But just things like pride, like like I have a ticket to a show that's probably not going to happen. I mean, it's in New York, which is, the epicenter of the epidemic in the U.S. apparently now, and it's being hit very badly. The Origin of Love show, the Hedwig show, in June. And it's just weird. Like, obviously, I can stand missing a show. And I think anyone listening knows that I'm not like, I'm going to miss a show. It's not that. But it's like everything that's tied to it, like pride and going to see this and seeing my friend Mike and like seeing my friends Daniela and Sammy Joe and all the folks in New York. And then that just compounds the feeling of, or reminds you that like, when am I going to see them? And it's super freaky.
Or even just how much like queer culture is tied to nightlife.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Like that's like one of my cry fests was like weirdly about like how all of us like going out in West Hollywood. Like when will that ever happen again?
I know exactly. And thinking about Precinct. And you know what I mean? Like this haven.
Will I ever drink at Flaming Saddles ever again?
It reminded me also, I was thinking about, first of all, like my coming to the queerness realization, was in the last, year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And then being able to experience the freedom of just like making out with someone at the bar, which.
Bye. Never again. So
I know.
Those days are over. It's like so bad.
Yeah, I know. It was really, because I remember seeing Christine around Christmas time, and it was just like a I mean, it was fucking insane. Yeah, and then you think, oh, wait, will a Christine show happen again? Christine who will grab your phone, lick it, and then hand it back to you. Like just all of these things. It's this endless layer cake of like, oh, wait, is that going to, yeah. I
think a lot about like the kids, like the little kids that are born. I'm, first of all, for many reasons, I'm so glad I'm not pregnant.
I'm happy I'm not pregnant as well. So congratulations to us. Yeah.
Like, it's just like kids that are, 4 or 5 right now having memories. Like, what are their memories going to be like? And what are their parents gonna like, they'll probably be in college, like not even thinking about it, just like wiping down their phones while they talk to their room. You know what I mean? Like that'll just be like the norm.
Although, there's another possibility too, that things will, come back to normal or be better, and that they'll have this weird memory of almost like a wartime. And much like people who grew up in World War II, and it'll be this memory that influences things, but then possibly could provide some kind of good thing, like the Greatest Generation.
I mean, I don't know. My grandmother was in Europe during the Holocaust, and it definitely so because they had nothing, the result of that was her really valuing wealth and like surrounding herself with like antiques and paintings and beautiful jewelry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, how it, it manifests in like, if you had nothing and like, I was like, you know what, she's earned it. Like, let her have, let her have all these fancy things.
Right. Exactly.
So like, I don't know. Or like, are they going to just be like, either they're going to be really like wiping everything down for the rest of their lives, or they're going to be like, fuck it, germs can come all over me, like I'm invincible.
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like there'll be like a much more cautionary era, and again, the impact, like you said, on the queer community is really.
Are people gonna go to drag shows? I don't even know.
Well, the thing is, like, it's so crazy where even the top performers are like, what am I gonna do now? You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. Like, it's an entire industry. In the concert industry, it's all so fucked up, and like films, no one can shoot anything right now. It's really, really freaky.
I'm like, oh my God, is the entertainment industry over just when I'm like doing well? I'm like, this makes sense.
No, but I don't think it'll ever. Entertainment's always there. It's just like prostitution,
Yeah, but how do you?
But then again,
exactly.
Speaking of that,
how do we know?
Fuck. Well, but I think at some point there's going to have to be, or there will be, a vaccine created, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because
I mean,
we have. Sorry to cut you off. We have been kind of trending a little dark, and that's okay, right? Because that's what the whole show is about. But like, there is going to be some kind of thing, but the thing is, we don't know when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or I mean, scientists and doctors are like really doing the most, which is great.
They're fully Kurt Russelling it.
Yeah, and they are, and they're like, in coming up with stuff, and like, someone will come up with a vaccine for sure. I'm gonna guess it won't be an American, and I wonder, how much like inter-country
Squabbling
or inter-country solidarity there'll be.
Oh yeah, sure. You went for the positive. I went for the negative. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like just in terms of like, is like China going to want to share it with us, or is Trump going to piss someone off?
Oh yeah. Gee, I wonder if he'll manage to do that.
So this is the thing
that
I would love your opinion on. The Gen Z kids that are going out and doing stuff.
The idiots. Sorry. Yes.
But I'm like, what? Everything they've been through in their lives, like they were like, in elementary school or younger when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
They saw Trump get elected. Like, I'm trying to be empathetic and be like, what evidence do these like 17-year-olds have that life gets better?
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
Like, what evidence do they have that they shouldn't live in the moment? What evidence do they have that anything is going to turn out what evidence do they have to think about anything beyond the next 24 hours? I don't know that they have strong evidence.
Right.
I think they like want to die. Like, not consciously, but I think there's like, I was trying to think about this. Like, I think there's like a Gen Z like death wish.
Really?
Yeah, because what does it matter to them? Like, there's no guarantee of jobs. There's no guarantee of like, it must be harder to like meet people. They go on these like unfulfilling app dates. Like, in what, there's if they want to have kids, but they're never going to have the financial stability to do so. Like, they do gig economy jobs. They don't have careers. Like, in what world isn't it worth it for them to just like go party till they die?
Well, maybe. Yeah, that's very heavy thought. Hang on a sec. Sorry, just that thought caught me for a second. You know what I mean?
Right? Like, what? I mean, I think if you're like 16, you kind of just are gonna like. I mean, I'm guessing, but I'm sort of like, why would they have any sort of hope?
Well, yeah, but then when I try to square that with those people that I saw in the spring break video, it's so weird because those people just look to me like determined alcoholics. You know what I mean? Like, and that just disturbed me. I was like, you're so dumb. Like, oh, your attitude's going to change when all the people start dropping dead.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they have a very like Mad Max sort of like fuck it idea of like, that I can understand being like, I mean, I don't understand it because you could kill other people, but I have like I understand the sort of like, well, what am I going to do? Like, not live my life. Like, I live every day going to school thinking I'm going to get shot. So what's the difference with this?
Yeah, there's that. And then, of course, I also look at it and I think, there's just sort of like this weird overindulged in a weird way kind of thing for some of them, because the idea of like, hey, fuck it, I'm just going to go party. I mean, I'm thinking again about the spring break people, but like, like also what's so important about going to a fucking party? That also speaks to sort of a lack of an intellectual or other life in a lot of these people.
Yeah, because it's I mean, I think that they are so confronted with death all the time that it's like, I think they're just like traumatized as a generation.
But what about the other people who aren't in that generation, that are older and want to just pretend that things won't affect them? I think that the biggest problem we have is just denial, and also specialism, or what is it called? Exceptionalism. Like, I can do this. And also, if I am infected, then I don't have to behave like the other people who are infected. I think that is I guess people call it entitlement, but I think it's a much more specific thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's like, this happens to other people.
Right.
But,
I mean, even all of us were kind of glib about it, making jokes in January, like I was joking that the coronavirus resulted in you suddenly wearing cargo shorts, listening to Jimmy Buffett and addressing everyone as, "Hey, brother," because,
right.
just because the name, was funny, but like doesn't sound so funny right now.
Right. No, I know. And well, also I think it suffered from having like a funny name too.
Yeah. And I don't know if Corona beer is going to be really doing so well.
I would change our name.
Yeah, I think so.
I have some thoughts.
Now, do you know about this diet supplement thing from the early 80s, late 70s called AIDS?
No.
Okay, yeah. There is actually, I'll play it for you right now. Hold on.
No.
Yeah. It was a chocolate, and it had like some kind of like appetite suppressant in it.
Oh, wow. Sorry, my dog is literally snoring right next to me. Buddy.
That's that cheerful, like, fireside dog presence that we need on a show where we talk about doom and gloom.
I don't know if you can hear him. He snores so loud, and he's so small, and it's so loud.
He's a marvel of modern science. Now, this is refried beans, correct?
Oh, yeah, this is beans. He is he is so loud. Like, it's, I don't understand how that much noise is coming out of this tiny animal.
Sherry and Sophie have a similar sized dog named Bowie who has to be in a special area of the house at nighttime, managed to break out of his area. It's a very comfy area, by the way, lest anyone think that they imprisoned the dog, and found his way. I'm not sure. I wouldn't, I don't want to misgender the dog. Found their way into my bedroom and woke me up with like the most startling, scary, snorting kind of thing. And a very small dog, but really sounded like a rhino.
Yeah, very. I mean, I don't know if like his little nasal passages, or I think sometimes I'm like, because he's a really big Chihuahua, and I keep being like, I think maybe you're an abomination. Like, I think maybe you shouldn't. I think because he'll like breathe so hard, and I'll be like, maybe you shouldn't exist.
Yeah, like maybe you're breathing for a larger dog.
Yeah, like I'm glad you do exist, but I'm also like, oh, like when you see like a pug and you're like, oh no.
I've tried fad diets, powders, pills, still my weight's been up and down like a yo-yo until the AIDS plan taught me how to take off weight and help keep it off.
AIDS may taste like a candy, but AIDS contains one of the most effective appetite suppressants you can buy, and there's no stimulant in AIDS that could make you nervous.
With AIDS, I ate less, so the weight came off. To help keep it off when I sometimes want things loaded with calories, AIDS helps put me in control.
Let the AIDS plan teach you how to take off weight and help keep it off. Try peanut butter AIDS.
Oh my God! Try peanut butter AIDS.
Oh no!
Oh my good God! But listen, yeah, I know.
So that company went out of business.
Yeah,
huh?
surprisingly, shockingly, somehow they didn't really stick around. I'm not sure why. I mean, it seemed like seemed like they had a solid product, right? So I don't know what happened there. Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, that's wild. There's more commercials too. I'll be playing more of those as this series goes on.
Oh my God.
Back to the online therapy thing. You were saying that you were grappling with feelings of, I shouldn't be saying this, like kind of a self-deprecating thing. Do you want to get back into that and just talk a little bit more about how therapy has been since the beginning of this crazy era?
I haven't gone since this broke out. I've been avoiding it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been avoiding it. I do a thing of like, well, I already know what she's gonna say.
Oh, right.
But I think, and like I'm like, it's not gonna help. But I think, I mean, I don't know. Are you going to FaceTime therapy?
No, listen, I was going to say, but I didn't want to cut you off again. I just wanted to say, listen, you're not going to get any judgment from me because I'm not currently in therapy. I need to, I need to do that. I need to do that. Yeah, as we've discussed in a couple texts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there's, if you have the, sorry, this is weird for me because every time I run into the brick wall, doing a daily show is a new thing for me, and it's very strange. And also having just woken up, but that's okay. Like that's what I have to do. I have to tell myself like, hey, stop being so hard on yourself. You know, you're doing a daily show, and we're talking about something that's like a, you know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, any fumfer. Maybe I'll just leave that whole thing in because it's good to hear that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you have any referral or anything like that for a person, I mean, I know I should just be able to see. This is the other thing. Then I go, oh, well, I should just look it up myself, and then I get like.
Well, my therapist is good. She's like a queer therapist. Sometimes she yells at you, which is nice. Like, he really, like, I'll be, like, hard on myself or, like, I'll be, like, get on myself about, like, why aren't you normal and blah, blah, blah. And then she'll be like, she'll yell, like, you're queer, god damn it. Like, she's very
Oh, I love that. Oh, my God, I love that.
She's this butch lady. And then it turned out, like, I was talking to some friends across the country and in our group chat, and we realized that we all have butch lesbian therapists.
Yeah.
And we were like, that seems right. Like, that's
that tracks.
That's what we need to be doing. That's who you need to have as a therapist, I think.
Oh, that's a fair point. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, if you would send me that contact info, and if she's doing online sessions, then that'd be wonderful. Yeah, because it's overdue. I need to do that. Yeah.
But I've been avoiding it. I have to do it. Last night, I was really upset, and I was like, maybe like I have to go to therapy.
Right. And it's funny too, and it's good to point out how these thoughts come back, because you're one of the most vocal proponents of therapy and getting treatment for issues, etc., that I know, and even still, you can go through this thought process.
I'm avoiding it.
Yeah. But I think it's good to point that out to folks too, because I think a lot of people listening grapple with that idea, or grapple with the avoidance.
I'm just like, what is she going to say? She's going to be like, how are you? And then I'm going to be like, terrible. But like, honestly, that's helpful. Like, you have to think about that as helpful.
No, absolutely. And this series is really about that too, right? Because like, I think I cut myself off earlier, but what prompted this whole thing was I had been avoiding listening to music and not even being conscious of it. I mean, I kind of started to go, why am I not? And then it was just like, don't think about that. Let's not think about that. Let's edit another show. And by the way, to your point earlier about podcasts that aren't about the current times, coming up soon, Land Insider Part 2, plus Rusty Egan from Visage and so many more. And that's coming up soon in the regular episode. And of course, you can hear a lot of great shows with Gaby and Allison on Just Between Us. And also Gaby's podcast, Bad with Money, because we're going to have to figure out how to handle our money, especially now in these trying times, right? Yeah. So anyway, I put on Todd Rundgren's Bang on the Drum All Day. That song is a piece of magic. It's so fucking weird. It's a bizarre song, and it's so simple and goofy that it always triggers a certain emotional response in me, which is kind of one of glee, and just excitement and happiness. And I put it on, and about as soon as the drums came in, I burst out into absolutely uncontrollable sobbing that I haven't experienced. I haven't experienced that since my cat passed away a few years ago, and it was really, and I couldn't stop it. Not that I was trying to either, because I am a big believer in the power and healing effect, or therapeutic effect, rather, of crying. I love to cry, right? I mean, I think like you're like this too. Like if you crying in a movie or crying at a concert, if we ever get to see one again, which we will, it's like one of the greatest things.
Yeah.
But this was really, and it was a cathartic cry, but I was really overwhelmed by it, because then it took me like 40 minutes, maybe an hour, and I was listening to the rest of the album, and then I held on to this song called Chant. I actually played Bang on the Drum All Day about 8 times in a row, because I was like,
of course.
Yeah, I was like, I need this. So that's what made me put the recorder on and just sort of barf my feelings out, which I think is so important, because doing the show, I'm reading comments and emails and all sorts of things from folks. We've been talking about the heavy things on this episode, right? But I feel really good. Like, I was so happy that when I woke up after the 30-second grace period, where I was like, what am I going to eat? And I think I have movies and like whatever. And then it was like, whoop, and then I thought, wait. Oh, this is great. I'm going to talk to Gaby in an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this stuff, and we're going to talk about it together. And then other people are going to listen, and then maybe they'll have thoughts on it, and they'll let me know what their thoughts are. And so I'm really, truly, truly thankful to be able to do this. And also, honestly, to be able to do this with you. I'm really thankful that you were able to talk, and maybe we'll talk again on this series. And
yeah, totally. I think it's good that you're doing a daily show.
Thank you. And like, as you know, I'm a workaholic anyway. But
you give yourself purpose.
No, that's the thing. And it's funny, though, because at the same time, I have to be mindful of my tendency to drive myself into the ground with work.
Yup.
This is something that really was made very clear during my ordeal in London because I wasn't taking care of myself, and I don't know. It's a develop an ulcer, blessed with an ulcer, whatever. I get into the whole story of what happened. And it was a whole process and a whole thing. But in another episode, I think for Hot Dog Club, which, by the way, I'd like to mention, this episode, like every episode of this series, is brought to you exclusively by Hot Dog Club. Now, if you're a company if you're a company that wants to sponsor this show, they're not going to argue with that. But it is exclusively brought to you by Hot Dog Club. And also, if you want to become part of Hot Dog Club, be one of the people that makes this show happen, go over to patreon.com/Craig and Friends. There are various reward tiers, and there's also just a $1 donation option. So you could do that. Anyway, back to what I was saying, if I can remember where we were. Right, overwork. But I've just been making sure that I sleep enough and that I just, as soon as I get up, boom, get ready, and just go into it. Now, what are you doing in terms of like self-care for distractions? And I find that distraction is almost the wrong word because distraction, I think distraction minimizes it. It's just like when people say escape. Well, yes, things are an escape. I think that they're much more valuable than that. So I want to know what you're doing to make yourself feel better.
I mean, I've been watching a lot of TV. I have stuff that I'm supposed to be working on.
That's over hanging out with the therapy appointments in that other pile, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I it's funny, like things that are still, people like stuff that I'm writing and then they're like, so can you have this by end of day Wednesday? And I'm like, where's everyone going? Like,
no, I know. Exactly. Like, oh, this is urgent because why? What, you guys are going to have a meeting in the office or something?
Yeah. So, but I understand wanting to keep like the normalcy. So
yeah, sure.
I've been doing I did like a video game thing with some friends.